There are far too many leaders preaching but not living their message. I call this the preacher phenomena, and it is in no way aligned with conscious leadership. Tune into this edition of Thursday's Thought and learn why the preacher phenomena is bad for leadership, and 3 tips to help you rise up as a conscious leader while creating a loyal community. If you dig this podcast, stay in the loop by signing up for my weekly emails. Sign up at rubyfremont.com/subscribe. I will also put that link and more in the show notes. And then whether you are a loyal thought leader or a brand new listener, thank you. Please take a moment to download a few episodes and drop a rating and review on iTunes. Now, it is time to talk about the preacher phenomena and how you can rise above it as a conscious leader.
Welcome to today's Thought Leader, where I'm challenging you to rise up, speak up, and create a movement. I'm your host, Ruby Fremont, and I'm here as a catalyst for you, the new generation of thought leaders. Join me every week as I dive into raw and real conversations that will help you amplify your presence, influence, and impact.
Hey, thought leaders, and welcome to this edition of Thursday's Thought. Now, if you are on the online space, just like I am, you've probably been noticing something that I'd like to call the preacher phenomena. And this is when people rush to their social media feeds to preach their message, to preach what they think is best, to preach what they're doing, to preach how amazing they are, to preach. And I gotta say, save the preaching for the preachers. Because if you see yourself as a leader, if you see yourself as a conscious leader, if you are really here to make an impact on our planet, it's going to take a heck of a lot more than just preaching. It's going to take a heck of a lot more than just standing on your pedestals, grabbing a megaphone, and preaching at your audience. I mean, that's the first problem, right? We have people preaching at their audiences. And the reframe that I always offer my clients is that our audience is actually our online community. This is the community that we are curating. And it's a community that's built around our message, around our cause, and around our mission. These people are invested in you. Even if they're not paying you for services, they are invested in you because they have chosen to follow you. They have chosen to place your energy in their social media feeds. So they are invested in you. So they truly are your community. And it's about time that we start treating the audience as a community. I mean, that's been one of the biggest reasons why I've been able to grow a loyal following. And I say loyal because I'm not one of those people with a million gazillion followers. I have a solid amount of followers for sure. But what I take most pride in is the fact that my online community is really a community. They are human beings being on their journey who feel connected to me because I'm allowing for that connection to take place. Because this is the way of the conscious leader. It's not about placing yourself on a pedestal, grabbing your megaphone and preaching at your audience. It's about standing in the middle of the room, surrounded by your community, being with them and speaking with them. Allowing them to see themselves in you, allowing them to really connect with you versus to just aspire to be like you. Because aspirations can die, but loyalty never fades. And the ways of a conscious leader is to create that loyalty. So if you're in the online space, you've probably noticed this preacher phenomena where you see these leaders in their social media feeds. And the energy is that of them standing on a pedestal, preaching from their megaphone to their followers. And sure, the messages can resonate but they don't resonate deeply. Or maybe it just feels like inspirational fluff. Maybe it just feels a little too vanilla. I mean, for me, it feels a little too vanilla. Because a lot of the times when these leaders are preaching from their megaphones on their pedestals, they are preaching to please. They are preaching to appease. They are not preaching in alignment with their cause. What I mean by that is they are saying and doing things in order to garner likes and follows and engagement, because that's what they are measuring their success on, versus creating a movement around their mission, which again, that's the ways of a conscious leader. Unconscious leadership is to fulfill the ego, to gain all the followers and make that your first initiative. No, the first initiative of a conscious leader is that of their mission. The mission comes first. Your purpose, your vision comes first. And then those who are meant to be in your online community, they will come because they actually resonate deeply with your message. So there are three tips that I want to share on how to be amongst your online community, how to lead differently, how to step aside from the preacher phenomena and truly communicate with your audience in a way that resonates deeply with them. Number one is you have to live your message. So who you're being each and every single day matters. Who you're being each and every single moment of every day matters. The choices that you make and the decisions that you take, all of this matters. There's an exercise that I lead my clients through, and I actually would love to share this with you. And I'm sharing it with you with the intention to have you do it. So fucking do it, because it's a powerful, powerful exercise. But when it comes to living your message, you really have to understand your message. You really have to understand what your message is about. So write out your message, and this could be a free flow journaling exercise. And for some of you, this can be challenging because you've never really written out your message. You're trying to hone in your message into like a one-liner or a two-liner. So you can write this as many times as you want in your journal. Maybe it's 12 times, maybe it's 100 times, but you write your message in different ways so that you can really hone in on what your message is. And then you list out all the actions and habits and patterns that you're doing every single day that are in alignment with this message. And you also list out the patterns, habits, and choices that you're making every single day that are not in alignment with this message. For example, if your message is to face your fears every day, and yet you're not challenging yourself on a daily basis to face your fears, you are not living your message. So get clear on that. You have to live your message. Tip number 2 is you have to be in absolute alignment of your truth. You have to know your truth in order to speak your truth. So knowing your truth comes first. And what I mean by truth is who you are, what you stand for, what you value, what's important to you. This is about having a deep understanding of yourself through a devoted relationship to self. Because then and only then can you be in absolute alignment with your truth. There's no alignment happening if you don't know what your truth is. And that's why we have a lot of people saying, I don't feel like I'm in alignment. It's like, well, what are you trying to align with? Do you even know what you value? Do you know what you believe? Like your true innate beliefs, not the beliefs that have been projected upon you or the beliefs that are negative. But like, what are your beliefs? What is your truth? What does your voice want to say? Like if you could say anything and not worry about anyone's judgment or anyone's opinions, what would you say? So you have to know your truth in order to speak your truth so that you can be in absolute alignment of your truth. And then the third tip is your life and who you're being has to be congruent with your purpose, with your mission, and with your vision. So in order for that congruency to happen, first, you got to get clear on your purpose. What is your purpose? Then you got to get clear on your mission. What's the mission that you've created around your purpose? And then you get clear on your vision. Where do you want to take this mission? What do you see for yourself, for your life, for the human collective, for the future? What is the vision that you are running towards? What is the vision that you are creating? And then once you have that, you can start to show up in ways that are congruent with this. So what I mean by this is, once you have your purpose, your mission, and your vision, do this little exercise. Close your eyes and visualize yourself at the accomplishment of your vision. Like your vision has happened. Your mission is accomplished. Your purpose is fulfilled. Let yourself feel the emotions that come up from this. Let yourself experience how you're speaking to yourself in this moment, how you're feeling, who you're being. Who are you being in this moment of accomplishment? That's who you get to be today. And that's how you show up in congruency. Now, these 3 tips that I shared, and let me recap them. You have to live your message, number 1. You have to be in absolute alignment of your truth, number 2. And your life and who you're being has to be congruent with your purpose, your mission, and your vision, number 3. So in order to achieve all these things, you must be devoted to your inner work. And when I say devoted, I mean it's a non-fucking negotiable. Nothing will stand between you and this inner work. You are devoted to doing this. See, when I witness quote unquote leaders, falsified leaders or unconscious leaders standing on their pedestals, preaching at their audiences, I know right then and there that they have not devoted themselves to their inner work. I know right then and there that they are not dedicated to diving deep within themselves and cultivating that relationship with themselves, because they're too busy trying to fulfill their ego. They're too busy to try and fulfill these outside expectations. They're too busy trying to position themselves a certain way or show up in a certain way to even understand who the fuck they are. And as my dear, dear soul brother would say, like, you got to know who the fuck you are in order to do this work. Conscious leadership starts with you being conscious within yourself. It starts with you understanding who you are. It starts with you knowing who you are. And yes, this is a journey. And yes, it is a journey that you get to commit to and be devoted to for the rest of your life. So as you lead, you continue to dive deeper within yourself to get to know yourself. This is so much more than just outside strategy. And I know you've heard me say this time and time again. This is so much more than just having the perfect marketing business strategies. This is about you being strategic with your own growth. This is about you being devoted to doing whatever it takes to understand yourself, to peel back the layers and to continue peeling back the layers, to get to the essence of who you are. And then to cultivate the courageousness and the bravery to put yourself out there, the real you, without the pedestal, without the megaphone, so that you are speaking with your audience, so that you are speaking with your community, so that you are cultivating a real community and a real movement around your mission. This is what is needed. And if you're listening to this podcast, like I know that you are here because you see yourself as a conscious leader and you are determined to lead differently. And I'm telling you, this is the way. This is the way that you will create that true, unshakable connection with your online community. This is the way that you're going to create that true sense of knowing each other, of seeing yourself in one another, having them see themselves in you. This is how we create that beautiful relationship between leader and community. And it all starts by having that relationship within yourself first. And I'm not just preaching this. This is what I'm living. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you know I am undeniably devoted to my inner work. And yes, at times I'm more devoted to the inner work than the outer work, because to me, everything begins and ends with the inner work. This is the work that I do with my clients, with my amazing, incredible, conscious leaders, these incredible souls who are really creating an impact in the world, and they're doing it their way because they are devoted to themselves. You can't be devoted to your cause, to your purpose, to your mission until you have that devotion to yourself. And in order to create that loyalty amongst your community, you've got to show up differently. You've got to show up as a conscious leader. You've got to be aware of who you're being in every moment of every single day. You have to live your message. You have to be in absolute alignment with your truth, and your life and who you're being every single day has to be congruent with your purpose, with your mission, with your vision. So before you try to implement another business or marketing strategy because shit just isn't working, implement a different strategy first. Implement deep inner work, and implement that every single day. Start with an hour a day. And an hour might seem like a lot to some of you, but it's really not. It's an hour well spent on yourself that's going to fuel you for the rest of your day. Journal, meditate, do breath work, connect with yourself. Forget the fucking phone for an hour upon waking up so you can connect with yourself before you connect with the world. Because that is how you're going to show up as a leader. That is how you're actually going to do good in this world. That is how you are actually going to create a movement around your message, because you're filling your own cup first before you're trying to solve some problem in the world, right? We have to solve that problem within ourselves first. So save the preaching for the preachers. And I want you to remember this the next time you reach for your megaphone. The next time you catch yourself reaching for your megaphone, ask yourself, am I truly living my message? Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Thursday's Thought. I'm today's thought leader, where I'm challenging you to rise up, speak up, and create a movement. If you dig this episode, please share it with a friend, and then go download a few more episodes, and then drop a rating and review on iTunes. And then hit me up on social media at I am Ruby. Let me know that you listened to this. Let me know if you gained any insights from this. And just reach out, say hi, say what's up. I love connecting with my community. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me as well. You can find me mostly on Instagram. I also frequent Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else, but my handle's the same everywhere at I am Ruby. If you dig the podcast and you want to stay in the loop, then sign up for my weekly emails. The link is rubyfremont.com/subscribe. And I'll also have all these links and more in the show notes. Make sure you check back on Monday for a new episode of Today's Thought Leader, where I'll be diving deep into the impact of emotional intelligence with Antisa Jensen. It is an amazing, amazing episode. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, thought leaders, and I will see you on Monday.